Hi guys, so it was requested that I show you how to draw negative spaces. Now negative spaces or being able to draw negative spaces is probably one of the most important tools that artists use, and yeah, and we're going to do that today. So the first one we're going to do is this chair. A chair, a flower, a lot of plants, a lot of shapes, trees they lean themselves towards drawing negative spaces because they have negative spaces around them and inside them. Alright, now you use negative spaces, you draw negative spaces all the time. If you draw realistically, you use negative spaces all the time. In this picture, these are the negative spaces. It's pretty straightforward. When you draw an eye, for example, you use the white of the eye as negative spaces to get the shape of the iris right. Okay, you use this gap here as a negative space to get the shape of the eye right and to get the shape of that fold above the eye right. And then you use this negative space here to get the shape of the eyebrow right. You use negative spaces all the time when you draw realistically. Okay, so let's start with the chair. Let me just leave it there for you for a bit so you can see it nicely and have an example. The first trick when you start out in the beginning, when you are still a bit unpracticed and inexperienced with drawing negative spaces, is to draw yourself a frame when you're still practicing. And then you choose an object and you let the outlines of the object touch the frame in a few places here and there. This makes it easier because it breaks up the negative spaces into smaller parts. Alright, then what you do is you focus not on the object you are drawing, you focus on the empty spaces, the negative spaces around it and inside it. And you see those negative spaces as weird shapes and draw those weird shapes. Indirectly, you are drawing the object. Directly, you are focusing only on the negative spaces. Alright, it takes a bit of practice, but we're gonna do it. Okay, so let's do this on scale. And let's see, it's about, I don't know, half centimeters. I don't know. Centimeters by about 17. Actually, a little more, but 17 will do. Otherwise, I'm gonna run out of paper here. When I draw lines, the trick to drawing straight lines without measuring is I use negative spaces. I check the gap and judge with my eye if the gap is equal everywhere. That's a negative space, see? And also, when you draw negative spaces, you judge angles and placements against the horizontal and vertical lines of the frame. That's when you start out in the beginning, when you're still practicing drawing it. I will explain all this just now. Okay, so there we have our frame. Now we're going to draw the chair. And I'm starting with, with this little sliver of negative space right there. And the way I do it is I check from the corner on that horizontal line. How far in does it go? Where does it start there? And then on the vertical line, from there to there, how much space does that take up? I hope that's clear. You understand that. You use the horizontal and vertical lines to judge angles. I can see that little angle there, that little corner it makes there. See? And I can compare that to the horizontal line of the frame up there. And then I also use the frame lines to judge where to place, where to start and finish a negative space. I'll show it again. Let's just get this one. It starts about there and it ends around about there. It's actually smaller than you would think. Now I'm trying to recreate that angle that I can see there. And I'm focusing only on the negative space. It helps if you frame your negative space and color them. It helps you to see them better. Okay, now let's do this big one here. I can now judge from the corner, where does it start there, but I can also use this previous one I did to get that position there. Then I check this angle here, this angle, and I can judge on this line. I can judge where this turn happens, see, and I can see that it goes back a bit. I can even go as far as check against this line where it turns here, there, and I can check how far back it goes from this point. I can check how far back it goes. It goes back to about there. So you can use these little markers for yourself in the beginning. And then where does it end compared from there to there? I would say the center of this line is around about here. So it's quite a bit above the center. Okay. So let me start drawing that one. It starts around about here. The angle goes like this. It turns around about there. It goes back to about here, and that turn is compared to there about here. Okay, so I'm still on track. Right, now I need it to end. This is center. I need it to end about there. Alright, so I go up a little at that angle, and then round about here it goes down. Right, so now I have this negative space here. Now I did this one. Now let's quickly color it. Okay, like that. And there I've got the top part. Let's compare them for you. There I've got the top part. You can see that this shape here, and that I made that shape of mine a bit fatter than it should have been, that one there. You can see that that looks pretty much the same. Okay, so I'm going to continue now and fast forward from here, and if I have enough time on the video we can do another one. Righty. All right, I still have a little bit of time, so now let's do from life this scissors, and I'm leaving them on the paper without tracing them. Right, we're going to use the negative spaces to draw this. What I am going to do is I'm going to draw a very rough frame for it, very rough, so that it touches, oopsie, the frame here and there. There you go, to make it a bit easier. Right, so that's how you do negative spaces. I recommend that you practice this as much as you possibly can. It's very, very important to master this technique, this skill that realistic artists use. Of course, super realistic artists are very good at this. The more you practice, the better you'll get, and the easier it will get. Righty, see you guys next time. Have a great week. Bye.